Welcome to Let's Get Into It. I am your host, Sherelle Higgins. Let's Get Into It is a safe space to have real conversations that are meant to uplift, encourage, and let you know you are not the only one dealing with life. Each episode of Let's Get Into It is designed to provide illuminating and thought provoking information on a variety of topics. In fact, no topic is off limit. If you would like to see a topic discussed, please feel free to make a recommendation. My special guest and I will have a great time discussing topics that the mainstream media wouldn't dare discuss. We will bring these conversations to you with an open mind, respectfully, from different perspectives, and most importantly, with love. Thank you for joining me and my special guest. Now, let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to the next episode of Let's Get Into It. I am your host, Sherelle Higgins, and I want to bring a very important conversation to my audience. And my guest is going to help me navigate that conversation. As we all know, both men and women can get breast cancer or cancer in general. And so it is very important for us to ensure that we go to the doctor to get our bodies checked out. And I know in this current climate that, some people weren't able to afford to continue with their health insurance due to the lapse in the Obamacare subsidy or the ACA subsidies. And so it is important that we make sure that our bodies are ready for the longevities of our life. Because what we don't want to happen is for us to age, and we're all aging, to age and have illnesses that have not been diagnosed and treated. And of course, we know that the earlier that we get diagnosed, the better it is for us. So don't be afraid to go to the doctor and get your body checked out. You may feel fine and may not have any symptoms, but there could be something wrong. And unless you get regular checkups and get your body checked out, you just may not know. And and as it relates to breast cancer, we want to make sure, ladies and gents, that we get those mammograms. If you feel a lump, if you feel some uncomfortable feelings, if you feel some itching going on in your breast, it is important to get that checked out because that may be a symptom of what you are about to experience on your journey in life. And so I cannot emphasize enough how important it is that we get our mammograms and get them regularly. Don't say, well, not this year, I'll just do it next year. No, because next year might be too late. It may progress to a point next year where more aggressive things need to happen for you to see if you can make it through. And so, without further ado, I would like to bring my guest, Dr. Nardis King, to the stage. Hi, Nardis.
Hi, Sherelle. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on. Let's get into it because I think this is not only an important conversation to have, but it is also very important to talk about the Donna M. Saunders Foundation because I think this foundation is an awesome organization le- uh, led by some awesome people that are doing some awesome things for the community. And so, my first question for you, Nardis, is and Nardis is the president of the Donna M. Saunders Foundation. So, my first question to you, Nardis, is how did this foundation get started?
So first of all, thank you, Sherelle, for having me on your platform, and hello to your listeners, and thank you for allowing me to share about the foundation. Donna M. Saunders was my college roommate from my sophomore year till she left school. And at Virginia State University. So many Virginia State University folks know Donna and was very fond of her as well. Our junior year at Virginia State, she discovered that she had breast cancer.
Mm,
And, she was young. She just went to the clinic to get birth control. And the doctor did an exam and discovered a lump. She still didn't think that it was cancer, and then discovered that it was, which caused her to leave school to go get well. Which she did do. She got well. She went through a lot for a young lady, but she did get well. And she pretty much lived what we believe is cancer free for 20 years. And then after 20 years, the cancer came back in the other breast.
Mm.
She discovered the lump in her breast and didn't say anything to anybody for about 3 months because she was in denial. She didn't want to believe that the cancer had come back. And it did, unfortunately, because back then they were not doing double lumpectomies not lumpectomies. Ah, where they were not removing both breasts unless cancer was visible in both breasts. And so, because I often wonder if that would have saved her life, but you don't know. But 20 years later, it came back. She went through the journey again, and this one was a little bit more aggressive. And after 6 years with it, she succumbed to her breast cancer. And so, the last doctor that she went to see, and she had done a lot of things, and people had really supported this journey with her. She had went to the Breast Cancers of America in Oklahoma and Philadelphia. She was treated at many hospitals in the DMV area, and trying to find the right doctor that could do the right thing to hopefully prolong or save her life. And the last doctor that she went to see, I remember her calling me and telling me that he had said to her that he believes that if he had gotten to her when she was first diagnosed, that he could have saved her. That's what he told her.
Mm.
But at the
Mm.
same time, he told her at that time that she had about 2 months to live.
Mm.
And, that was a shock for us. But that 2 months quickly turned to 3 weeks. Um, and she succumbed 3 weeks after she was told that. And she was set up in hospice in her wonderful brother and sister-in-law's house, and they allowed for many of her friends to come and say goodbye to her. And so many of us went every day, as much as we possibly could, to spend time with her. And as hard as it is to know that you're dying, Donna was in good spirits.
Mm.
I think she had made peace with this, that she had been in a lot of pain, and this journey took a toll on her mental, physical well-being. She had lost her mom to, I think it was ovarian cancer. She had lost a brother previously, and she just said, I'm tired and I'm okay with this. But in
Mm.
those conversations that many of us had, we had asked Donna, how do you want us to remember you? What can we do? And her words were simple. It was just help other people.
Mm.
And so the first year she passed away on August 16th, 2010. And the first year after she passed away, her friends and family came together, and we walked in the Susan G. Komen walk, because Donna used to like to walk in that. Many of us walked under the banner Team Donna. And so we did that. But that did not feel like enough, because yes, I know Susan G. Komen does a lot of research, and it goes a long way to helping in this fight of breast cancer. But I was just feeling this tug from Donna that we could be doing more to help people directly. And so I called a group of my friends, and I talked with her family. And I said, I want to start this foundation. Will you join me on this journey? Not
Mm.
knowing anything about what it meant to open up a foundation or do, because I think that had I known what I know now, I probably would have made some different decisions, because you learn a lot in this. But
Mhm.
the right group of people were together because we all cared about Donna. We all loved Donna, and I knew that that love would be enough to get us through the times that get tough when you're trying to raise money, you're begging people to help you, and those things are tough. We all had full-time jobs, and we didn't diversify our board because we were all related to the same group of people. So when you think about raising funds and networks that you want to create, when you're all in the same network, it makes it a little bit more difficult. So I wouldn't have turned
Mhm.
away anybody that we had, but I think that I would have added other people to ensure that our outreach was greater. So we started small, and I remember the first person that and I don't know if you wanted to ask another question, but because I'm really
No, go
answering the
ahead.
question.
Go ahead.
Okay. I remember the first lady that we helped, and her name was Joy. And I remember how excited we were that we were able to help somebody the first time. Like we gave her Christmas. She was a single
Mm,
mom. She had discovered her breast cancer on her own because her doctor kept telling her that they didn't know what was wrong with her, that they did not diagnose her breast cancer. She watched something on TV, and the woman that was talking on TV had the same kind of symptoms that she had. So she went back to her doctor and said, "You need to test me for this." And whatever that was, and I don't remember what it was, but it was breast cancer. Um,
mm.
and so helping her, I remember, and she eventually succumbed to breast cancer as well. But I remember how proud we were, and her name was Joy. And so it was just like this aha moment for us that, Donna wanted to make sure that we would help people who needed it. And one of the reasons, Sherelle, that Donna used to talk about this is because those of us who had the opportunity to go to her treatments with her, there would be often time that there were people alone, and she always had somebody with her. And she would say, "I feel sorry for this person," or "I feel sorry," and she knew how blessed she was because her family was wonderful. She has, a large number of siblings, and, everybody made sure that Donna was never alone through her journey.
That's so important and so awesome because oftentimes people do go through their medical journeys alone. And whether that's because they choose to be that private with what's going on with them, or they just don't have the support system that they need to, travel these journeys. So it's very important that we make ourselves available to people who are experiencing medical issues, that we are part of their support system. So I'm glad you brought that up because that's really important. But one of the things that I noticed about the foundation, and I absolutely love this, is the motto that cancer is a word, not a sentence. And so, how did you all come up with that?
I can't remember who brought it to the table, but whoever did, it stuck with all of us, right? Because sometimes, you know, people believe that when you say that I have cancer, that it stops there. I have cancer, but what's next? I have cancer, but I'm going to beat this. I have cancer, but it doesn't define who I am as a woman. It doesn't define who I am as a person, and it doesn't define my future, right? And so that motto just stuck with us as a group because, oftentimes when people say I have cancer, a lot of times people believe it's a death sentence. And with the technology and, the future of medicine, a lot of people, particularly if you discover it, as early as possible, can survive it. Some people obviously are still dying from all types of
Mhm.
cancer. And it drives me crazy because it's the one thing that I don't understand why we haven't found a cure for, right? Like why
There's
we
too much
found a
money
cure for
involved.
so many things, and it's why it's important to not only support foundations like us who directly support patients, but also research foundations. And I want to say this too: it's very, very important for Black people, both men and women, to sign up to be a part of trials when the opportunity arises, because a lot of times, our DNA makeup is different than other ethnicities, but we shy away from getting involved in trials, and they're never going to learn how to help us, particularly if we
Mhm.
don't put ourselves out there as part of trials when the opportunity comes. So it's very, very important for our community to be involved in the research.
That that is really important, and I'm glad you mentioned that. And so, oftentimes, we don't even know that trials are going on. And so I've heard my dad say several times, my dad has a degenerative eye disease that causes blindness. And I've heard him say that he was going into a facility to participate in a trial, right? And so um, I suspect that he learned about the trial through his medical professionals. And so it's important for us to have medical people in our lives that we can trust and we know want the best for us, because there's no secret that particularly African Americans, when they go to the doctor or to the hospital, they don't get the level of care that they should receive, or that they expect to receive. And so it's just very important that we have a relationship with our doctors. And one of the things I know I struggled with personally is I went to one doctor for a very long time, and she decided to expand her practice. And then every time I went in, I saw somebody new. And they kept asking me the same questions over and over. And at this point, I'm like, I've been going here for years. Like, why are you asking me about that? Like, that's been solved 20 years ago. I don't need to talk about that no more. And so I ended up bouncing around for a while looking for a doctor that I could connect with, and then I finally found one, and she's amazing. Right? I don't ever feel rushed. I don't ever feel like I'm asking her too many questions. I don't ever feel like she don't want to be there. Like, she knows who I am when I come in. One time I went in because I had something going on, and she was like, "Oh, you must really have something going on because you ain't the type of patient that just be coming in all the time."
Right.
And so she was like, "So what's going on?" So she knew who I was and all of that. So that is very important that we establish a relationship with our medical professionals.
Yeah.
Um,
And do our own, I'm not saying we're medical doctors, but there's a lot of information out there. Now you have to discern between fake news and real news, right? But don't be afraid to, if a doctor is telling you nothing's wrong and you know your body better than anybody else, to push back or challenge, because
mhm,
your life can be dependent upon it.
absolutely, absolutely. Let's see, we got some comments going on. Uh, Crystalline says, "We love supporting this foundation. Thank you."
Crystalline
So
is one of our brand new board members.
Oh, okay, cool. Donna, Sonia says Donna was amazing during her journey. Yvonne said two of my favorite big sisters.
Love
Michelle
her.
gave us two red hearts. Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah, thank you all
Because
for supporting.
this conversation is just so important. One of the things, let's talk about um, things that you do to raise money. Because the one thing that I know about that I think is just so awesome is the pink tie guy. How did you all come up with that concept? And talk us through what that looks like.
Yeah, so several years ago, I was trying to find a way that we could connect men to help us raise funds, right? Because a lot of times it's women out here doing the fundraising because breast cancer impacts women more than it does men, but well, individually. But
Right.
many of these women have men in their lives that are caretakers, and I was like, they're going to feel an awesome responsibility to help us in this journey. And so we said, let's come up with the Pink Tie Guy campaign and have men for the month of October raise funds for us. And so I remember the first year, and I think we had like 5 guys. And of course, Keith Copeland and Benji Wimberly were our all stars for many years, right? And they try to hide from me come September when I know I'm coming. They know I'm coming, but now I don't even have to bother them. They just do it. But I remember the first year we raised like maybe $4,000, and we were so. I remember like we were so excited that we raised $4,000, and they fundraised for us the whole month, right? So from October 1st to October 30th, we raised $4,000, and we thought we were the best thing since sliced bread. Several years later, we've raised up to $80,000 in 15 days. So we got more people involved, right? More men involved. People feel compassionate, and they see us on Facebook, and some volunteer, and we voluntold, and we go after people that we see have Facebook presence or social media presence,
Mhm.
or people that are connected in some way to breast cancer, and we just ask. Sometimes it's hard for them to say no. I am a nuisance. Our board members are a nuisance. We're each responsible for finding people. This past year, so this past October was the first year we added women,
Mm,
because we're saturating the guys, and we're reusing them. Someone was like, I need a break this year and I'll come back next year. So we opened the competition to women this year for the first time, and it was fantastic. Now, the sad thing about this year's campaign, which we made about $15,000 less than we did last year. It was during the time when the government was shut down. So our campaign was right in the middle of the government shutdown. And I think that really impacted our pink tie participants the ability to get folks to raise money because people were on furlough or people lost their jobs, the Doge thing. So I expect that next year we'll be right back at that. You know, our goal is to make $100,000, and I'm in 15 days. That's the goal. And next year we're gonna reach that goal.
Okay, yeah, put
Guess,
it out there. Let's
guess who's gonna be the new pink tie couple? Those Higgins.
I'll have to do all the work, but okay. Look, just so you know, I tried. Somebody asked me about having him, and I tried to talk him into it, and he didn't do it. But he'll do it if I do it. So,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Be the power couple.
so let's talk about like if somebody wants to participate in being the pink tie guy or the woman, what is it that they have to do?
So they literally, we give them a platform. So we give them a page on the internet. It has their picture on it, and they just literally have to share the link and tell people about them. We give them the talking points. We give them, pictures that they can use of themselves. We support them in every kind of way. All they have to do is harass the people in their lives, right? So they're sending their links. It's no different than that popcorn. And everybody on here knows about that double good popcorn because they bought some from me too. And I hate selling that popcorn, but sometimes it's necessary. But all they do is share their link, and people donate. And people donate $5, people donate $500, people have donated $1,000 to their favorite pink tie person, right? And so it's we make it a friendly competition. And
Mm-hmm.
but we say all money is good money and all money is welcome, because in the end, the overall pot is what makes it a success. But there are competitive people. I know if I was a pink tie person, I would, do whatever I could to win too, because we all like to be winners. And this past year, Chris Metz was our pink tie guy. He was first place winner for the men, and we haven't publicly named the women yet. But at our donor appreciation event that's coming up, we will award the winners their prizes. But everybody's a winner that just says yes to us. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
care if you've raised $5, that $5 is going to help folks. So literally, it's that simple, Sherelle. It's not like they have to go knocking on doors. They just text their link or post it on their Facebook page or call people on the phone. They can get matching dollars from their corporations, and people do that as well.
Okay, Chris is one of my neighbors.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I love Chris. Yeah, and he wasn't going to do it this year. He's like, "Oh, I need a break." I was like, "No, you don't." And look, he won.
Keisha said, I love supporting the pink tie guy every year. Yes.
He
So
is a big supporter of ours.
the first time I heard about the foundation was through a pink tie guy. I didn't know about it. And I one of them Kibi reached out to me, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm down for donating. And I donated, and then like the next day, Wendell reached out to me, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I donate again. Because I want to be supportive of what they were doing and also of the foundation, because I love this idea, because we have to do more as a community to help
Absolutely.
and support each other. And
Right.
so whenever it comes around, whoever hit me up, I donate to the foundation, because I think you all are doing amazing work. Um, so also, you all provide assistance to people. Let's talk about that, because I went to an event of yours and I absolutely loved it, even though I was multitasking watching a football game, but we ain't gonna talk about that.
You weren't the only one.
My Bears was playing, so I was like, ooh. But I was so inspired by that event. Let's talk about that,
Okay.
and how people can apply for assistance.
Right. So you went to an event called Hatitude, and where we come together for a luncheon, not only to bring awareness about, so the purpose of that is really to bring awareness, but we also provide awards to people who are doing great things in the breast cancer world, right? So, people who are healthcare providers, people who are advocates, survivors who have their own testimony and have been able to have impact on others based on their experience. So it's like an awards program slash awareness program slash luncheon where we get to dress up and wear these beautiful hats, right? And the way folks can apply for assistance is they go to our website, and you can just Google Donna M. Saunders Foundation. It will take you to our website. And there's a button that just says apply for assistance. In order for you to be eligible for our foundation, we have three areas that we accept applications from. It is the state of Virginia, the state of Maryland, Washington, D.C., and the state of New Jersey. Those states right now, you have to live in one of those states in order to be eligible. There was a very short amount of time that we offered nationwide, but we're a very small foundation. And when we opened it up, because Alfred Street Baptist Church, which is I attend and some of the other board members attend, that's our church home, provided us with some grants. And when they mentioned us, you know how Alfred Street is long and wide, our
Mm-hmm.
website just started blowing up with people all around the country. That's how many people are in need. And we
Mm-hmm.
tried to support that, but we just couldn't sustain it. One, we didn't have the funding to sustain it. And two, we didn't have the bandwidth. And so when we started this, we said that we were going to impact people in the DMV. But one of our largest fundraisers, like a person who supports us a lot, lives in New Jersey, and she raises funds for us in New Jersey. And so we want to make sure that we're able to support people in that state as well, because every year she does a large fundraiser for the foundation. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that like a Mackenzie Scott is going to find us like it finds our beloved Virginia State every year, and drops a couple of $1 million in our foundation so that we can support people nationwide, because it's really hard for us to say no. It's really,
Mm-hmm.
really hard. And people will send you these heart-wrenching emails. And Sherelle, the disease for even working people, and people who can attest to this, is devastating on their finances, right? Even
Mm-hmm.
when they have insurance, it's still devastating on their finances because of the copay. And, depending on how much your insurance supports your treatments, we've heard stories of people, losing their homes. We try to keep, like, we can't pay somebody's mortgage off. We don't have that kind of funding. But if
Mm-hmm.
we can pay their mortgage for a month so that they can pay other bills to take a little bit of stress away from them, that's what we try to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, people can, prioritize what is your most urgent need at the time. Because sometimes people will reach out to us and they really don't have need, but they just know we give funding. But we really say to them, come back to us when you need, because
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of people who need it. We have a resource fair every spring, and women in need, on the most part, and not everybody that it's a need that shows up there, because it's just a day of celebrating, honoring those who are in the struggle, and providing resources. So we partner with other foundations and other healthcare institutes around the DMV, and we're all in one space, so it's kind of like a one-stop shop. And the links, the Arlington Alexandria links, have supported our grants. And there we have organizations. My Northern Virginia chapter of Delta Sigma Theta has supported that opportunity as well. So we're always looking for partners and people who want to help us in that for that day, because it's just a really nice day that we can give back to the community and bring awareness to what we do in the foundation. And there are times when we can't help somebody, but because we've made partners with many other foundations in the area, we trade off with each other. Hey, we got somebody that needs this, can you help? And there's
Mm-hmm.
several organizations in the DMV that we've been able to partner with.
Okay, so without giving us anybody's name, of course, we want to protect people's privacy.
Mhm.
Um, Talk to me about some of the stories you've heard when people are applying for assistance, because I can only imagine that, because the medical field is one field that could quickly bankrupt people. And so talk to me about some of the things people are experiencing while they're trying to go through this journey. And the journey is hard enough, right? And then when you put the financial responsibility on top of the journey, and in some instances people are unable to work during their journey. And so they don't have any money coming in. So talk about some of the stories you've heard.
Yeah, I think the hardest ones for at least me, and shout out to my sister Tracy because she is her responsibility on the board somehow became her responsibility. We used to take turns, but Tracy is really the one that talks to our grantees, so she hears all the gut wrenching stories on a regular basis, and it's really, really, really tough because you're taking in everybody's concerns and issues. But for me, it's the ones that the people are too sick to work, their short term, long term disability has run out, and they're about to lose their home. And
Mm,
I think it's very scary for people who are about to lose their home. They're sick. Stress exacerbates any disease in our body. And
mhm,
then they have to figure out how they're going to live. And particularly, a lot of times it might be single moms that have children,
mhm,
3, 5, 7, and they might have their mom who is not well living with them. So they're caretaking for their parent. They're sick and trying to get well. And then they have 3 children and they're on the verge of losing their home or the place that they live, right? Those are, I think, the hardest stories for us is when you know that somebody is going to possibly lose their home. Now, when it's renting an apartment, it's easier to sustain, but when they're about to get evicted from their home, and we don't have the funds to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for somebody's mortgage, we have to figure out how we can best support them in that moment. And it really, really is tough. Um,
mm,
when you hear the stories, we always say our grants are start at $500, right? Because we want to be able to touch as many people as we can. And then sometimes we're giving out $2,000 or $3,000 in that moment because the story is so compelling and we feel the need to really help that individual. And one thing I want to share as well is that somehow nurse navigators found out about our foundation, and a lot of so the nurse navigator is people who help people who are going through the journey at different hospitals around the DMV, and they're constantly partnering up with us to get people to find us, right?
mm,
We're out there because I sent my sister 2 emails today that came through the website. So at least 3 to 4 times a week, somebody is asking. And because we have so many friends that know about this, they're constantly telling people, you need to check out this foundation as well. And so I'm grateful for that. And I'm hoping that every time we touch somebody, because a lot of our grantees will tell you, and if you heard the lady at the Hatitude that talked about, the grandmother that,
mhm,
she wishes she could drive down from Baltimore, and that when they get well, they want to pay it forward. We've had grantees that have gotten well and their family have donated to the foundation because they knew that we helped their family member. And so it's
mhm,
really about working with the community, partnering with the community, because the recycling is necessary if we all believe that humanity deserves a partnership between people. And
mhm,
that's what I love most is that when we get a check in the mail that we weren't expecting, and that somebody heard about us, like on a platform here. We were able to go on the news one time, and somebody heard about our story and it resonated with them, and they sent a check in the mail and said, this is on behalf of my sister who died of breast cancer. They're paying it forward for somebody else.
Yeah, one of my really good friends, she was like a sister to me, Diane. You probably know her, Diane King, no relation. Passed away from breast cancer, and I remember when she was diagnosed with it and was going through her first journey with it, and went into remission, and then it came back, like similar to with Donna. It came back, and she had another ring the bell ceremony at her house, and we all went down to surprise her to be at the ring the bell ceremony, and it was just so wonderful. And then it seemed like in a short period of time things turned, right? And then she eventually succumbed to it, and it was just so sad, because she was just so full of life and positivity and always smiling. She'll get you together though, but just smile.
No, well, even Tammy, our beloved Virginia State, jazz woman,
Hmm.
her passing away was because she was a big supporter of the foundation as well. And then, suddenly you find your supporters and then suddenly they're diagnosed, right? And they go through
Hmm.
this journey. And sometimes people struggle alone and sometimes people struggle out loud, right? And either way, it's a personal preference for folks. We want to be there to support But I think it's so important for people who are in the struggle to let people know about their journey, right? Because their symptoms or how they discovered might help somebody else who is not even recognizing the change in their body. And I do want to say, to both men and women are out there, know your body and do those self exams, because knowing your own body, when you see something different and a doctor tells you no, nothing's wrong, and you can push back and say, yes, something is wrong because my body wasn't like this, a month ago, and it's changing rapidly. So you need to look harder at what's going on with me. I
Mm-hmm.
recently had a scare last year. I get my mammograms because, I know I need to get my mammograms, right? And I've always had dense breasts, but the doctor said, I see something, and I'm looking at her like, what do you mean you see something? And her bedside manner wasn't the greatest, because she
Mm-hmm.
literally said to me, um, it's 50%. You either have cancer or you don't. And I was like, what? You know, you don't expect somebody to say that. So I go
Right.
in for the biopsy, right? And so you have to wait for your appointment. And then, it wasn't like I got to go in the next day. I had to wait a couple of weeks. So the whole couple of weeks I was stressing, do I have breast cancer? And, I don't know about it. And
Mm-hmm.
I went in for my biopsy, and I'm so grateful to the technician that did my biopsy, because they're not supposed to say anything to you because they're not the doctors. But he came in and he said, you don't have breast cancer. And I was so relieved. And I was like, how do you know? And he said, because I looked back at the history of your mammograms, and that spot that she's seen has been there for 20 years. Right. And so
Mm-hmm.
that doctor didn't take the time to look at my history. She just looked at what was in the moment, and scared the hell out of me for several weeks. And
Mm-hmm.
it took them still 2 weeks to call me to tell me that I didn't have breast cancer. But thank
Mm.
God that technician violated whatever he wasn't supposed to do to let me off the hook at that time. So
And that's important. The bedside manner is important because some of these doctors they just don't have it, right?
right,
And that waiting period is tough.
yeah.
You just don't know, and of course you're gonna. That's when you're gonna assume the worst. That's when you're gonna start googling, and next thing you know, you done went from having breast cancer to having kidney disease, and
I mean, it's not funny, but it's funny, right?
it's not
Yes,
funny, but I mean, when we start self-diagnosing, and even though it's important for us to do our research, right, and understand that not all things that we read are true or applicable to us in our particular situations, but it is important for us to read the information and, like you said, know our bodies. Because if you don't know your body, I don't know who you expect to know it.
right,
And
absolutely.
so it's really important. And so let's talk about now we know men get breast cancer as well. So we don't want to, not include them. But one of the things you mentioned earlier was about the men in our lives who are also impacted by having to become the caregiver during this journey. Let's talk about how important it is to have, if you have a partner in your life, how important it is to have not only them there as a caregiver, but to have their support.
Yeah, I think the emotional support is most important, right? That your partner doesn't ever become the look of somebody who's a burden on the family because they're ill. I think that the most important thing for people who are sick, and regardless if it's breast cancer or any kind of disease that's in our body, that you alleviate stress as much as you can in their life, because stress is a dangerous thing. And
Mhm.
so if you have a partner that is walking that journey with you step by step, hand in hand, I think that your journey will go a lot better. One, and you will alleviate the stress as much as possible from your partner, particularly if you have children and they're small children. Women, we are, we're gonna fight through everything. Somebody shared with me recently that they had something going on, and the doctor said to this woman, and I can't remember what the disease was, but he said that it's not normal. I mean, oh, I know what it was. She went to her neurologist, and she's having pressure on her brain. And he said to her, as a black woman, what you're experiencing, it's almost like you're tough and can handle that more because it's in your DNA. And I was like, you need to find another doctor, because
Mhm.
what he's saying to you is get over it, because that's, as a Black woman, it's okay for you to experience that at that level because we can
Mm-hmm.
take it, right? When she said that, I wonder how often, right? Because I do know other folks that are very close to me that, had they listened to their doctor, right, no telling what would have happened to their journey, because people, sometimes doctors just blow off things. And
Mm-hmm.
we've heard that in through some of our grantees, that when they go to the doctor, maybe the doctor isn't as caring. And this is not a slight on doctors, because there's a lot of wonderful people in the medical
Yeah.
profession that do the right thing every day. But that's why it's so important for us to take our partners, whether whoever your partner is, or your friend, if you're not married, your close friends, to talk to them about what you're experiencing, so that when you need an advocate, if suddenly you can't advocate for yourself and you need someone else, that they know how to support you, right? Because it's not always about just somebody living in the house with you, but it might be your circle friends,
Mm-hmm.
people around you. To don't be afraid to lean on them and tell them what you need. Don't be brave, but don't do this alone, right? Tell folks if you need something, because people are busy. But if you need something, stop them and say, "This is what I need today. Can you help me?"
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And
it's
that's so important, but particularly for Black women, because we think our superpowers do all be all for everybody else, but neglect ourselves, right? That's our
absolutely,
superpower. And
yeah.
so it is important. I say all the time, in your circle, you should have two occupations. One is a nurse, and the other is an attorney. in my circle,
Absolutely.
in my circle of friends, I have three nurses and I have three attorneys. And I
Yes.
promise you, I will be on the phone. I've been in the hospital with other people. I'm taking pictures of the machine. I'm sending it to them like, what this mean? What's this number?
I have a friend, and I don't know if she's watching or not, but she was an athletic trainer at my school at one point, and we worked together at Mount Vernon for a long time. And she's the athletic trainer, but she's super smart, and she knows everything, I think, as much as a doctor does. So she would always be my first person I called to and say, "Hey, I'm feeling this." And she would direct me in the way that I, needed to go. So yes, she wasn't a nurse, but she was an athletic trainer, so she had a lot of training
Hmm.
when it comes to the body, the human body. But yes, I do agree. We're lucky that we have a lawyer on our foundation board, that knows how to direct us when it comes to legal things, and she will
Hmm.
check us when she needs to. And my
Right.
mom's a retired nurse, and so I'm grateful to have her in our lives. Because you're right, people will tell you, even when you're not willing to listen, they will tell you what you need to know.
Absolutely. My nurse friends, I'd be like, what, feel right here. What's this?
Absolutely, give me this pro bono, right?
Oh, absolutely. Are you
That's right.
kidding me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
And so
now we have AI, so we don't we might not need that as much as we needed to before.
right. But
But
I feel like
we still need the human touch.
if you come
Really
over to
do.
my house or I come over to your house and something is going on, I'm like, look at this right here. What you think this is? So when I go to the doctor, because I'm gonna go, when I go to the doctor, I know what type of questions to ask, right? And I know that they are, they do nursing in different areas, disciplines, and so it's well rounded. And so I'm like, whoo, okay. So I think those are just two occupations you need to have in your circle.
I agree. What they say, I agree.
Right, clock it. um, so let's talk about how I know you mentioned it a little bit earlier about how people can support and that no amount of money is too small. Um, Talk about not only your foundation's most active period in terms of donations, but how people can just donate throughout the year.
Yeah, so they can go to our website at any time. There's a donate button. You click it, you donate. You can sign up to have monthly donations, and some people do that. So anytime around the year, if you need that last minute tax
Tax
deduction,
write-off.
we ask that we're your charity of choice. Our biggest fundraising month, obviously, is October. but we need to find ways to raise money outside of October as well, right? Because we're so dependent on that money at the end of the year to get us through, next year's budget, that we want to have quarterly things that,
Mm-hmm.
folks will pay attention. So, we retreat each year to try and come up with some creative ways to get people to be connected. One of the things that we're looking for now is for people to support us in our chemo kits. So outside of giving funding for folks, people who have breast cancer, whether they're in need or not, we like to send them a chemo kit. So it's a Donna chemo kit. It comes with a bag with Donna's name on it, and things that breast cancer patients have told us that soothe them, nurture them, care for them while they're in treatment. They get a
Mm-hmm.
blanket because, when they're cold, they get some, ginger things that you can suck on, and just some really helpful things, a notebook to be able to take notes at your doctor's appointments, and there's just other things. So we're looking for sponsorship because we're running low on our chemo kits, so we have to replenish them. So right now we're looking for somebody to sponsor just a small $5,000 to get us to raise our chemo kit levels as well.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome. I like the chemo kit. Sharon says, can you share a success story based on the support they have provided a person or family?
Yeah. So, recently we supported a grandmother who had to take her child, her daughter passed away, and she took custody of her children's kids, and she was going through breast cancer. She was about to lose her home, and we were able to give her a couple of months' rent in order for her to sustain her place in there until her something was getting ready to kick in. I think maybe Social Security for the children, because she had to move in a bigger place.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't have the funding to do that. She wasn't working because of her breast cancer. So we were able to give her a deposit and a couple of months' rent to make sure that they could move in, and she could take care of herself and her family. And we have lots of success stories, Sharon. So thank you for asking for that, because I don't want to always sound doom and gloom. A lot of people just use us as a stopgap between the time that they're down, but
Mm-hmm.
many of them bounce back because we're resilient people. And most of our grantees are of African American descent. That's not by design. We are, a non-discriminatory foundation. We help anybody who comes to us. But the impact of breast cancer on African American women is huge. 1 in 8 women are
Mm.
diagnosed with cancer. And when you think about the women in your life, I'm almost sure that somebody has breast cancer in your circle or your circle. And
Mm.
so most women are success stories, right? More people are living from breast cancer after their breast cancer journey than not. Because, like I said, technology and medicines that and trials that are working. And so, Sherelle, I want to say to you that most of the people that we help, the letters that we get from them when they're back on their feet and then they become lifelong supporters of our foundation, shows that we had a positive impact on them when they were at their lowest moment. And other thing that I want to say too, a lot of foundations out there have a lot of red tape for you to get money from them. We don't
Mm.
have a lot of red tape. We do our due diligence to make sure that the person does have breast cancer, and then we ask for bills, right? But we're not saying, does your income do this, or do you have
Right.
12 recommendation letters, or you got to wait months. We try our best to get to folks within 2 to 3 weeks turnaround in order to give them that support. And then there are sometimes when we have urgent cases where we all have to jump on a call to make sure that we're supporting somebody right away because the need is urgent.
I love that, that you don't have a lot of red tape, because you're right. A lot of times when you're trying to get financial support, people want to have you jumping through a whole bunch of hoops, and sometimes time is of the essence,
Yeah.
and they need that help right now and not 6 months from now. So that is really really awesome. And so, how can people, understanding the climate that we're in, and the people, or a lot of people are losing their jobs, how can, is there a way for people to support the foundation other than through providing money?
Yeah, so if they go to our website and it says, to be a volunteer, they click on us, and when we have opportunities for them to volunteer, like when we get our chemo sponsor that we're going to find tonight, because I know you're out there listening to me, and we're going to pull the community together for a day of packing those chemo kits, and then when we have our events, we're always looking for folks to volunteer with us to help out in those events as well. So if they go to our website and they click on volunteer or connect with us, then their information comes in our database, and then we'll put out information for people to help.
Okay, Sharon said, repeat the money that you need for the chemo kit and where to make the donation.
So we're trying to raise $5,000 for that project, and they can go to the Donna M. Saunders Foundation. So it's breastcancercare.org, breast cancer aid, I'm sorry, breastcanceraid.org, or just Google. It's easier just to Google Donna M. Saunders, hit donate, and you donate there. And if you say that it's for the chemo kit, then we will make sure that it goes towards that campaign. So thank you for asking.
That's great. How many people you got on your board?
We have 8, because we
Okay.
just lost Stacia. Right.
Right.
So that's why I paused. Right. That was devastating to us as well. Stacia was one of our founding members. Her and Donna were very close as well. So to lose her, just on top of everything, right? That was a huge loss, unexpected, huge loss for not just her, her family and her friends, but to our foundation and our supporters as well.
Okay, so you said you have $100,000 goal for the year. And so I am going to ask my audience to let's help Nardis and the Donna Saunders Foundation meet that goal. Donate whatever you can. And if we think about the amount of money that we spend at the grocery store, and oftentimes we're just buying things to put on top of the things that we already have in the freezer that we never get to. If we think about the amount of money that we spend going to restaurants, eating out, we could just not do that one time, right? And we know if you go to a restaurant, more often than not, if it's you and one other person, the bill is going to be at a minimum $60, $70. That's at a minimum. And that's if you're not having no adult cocktails. And so let's say to ourselves, let's pledge that we're going to take that $60 and give it to the foundation as opposed to giving it to a restaurant to satisfy our hunger for one meal. When in fact we didn't already went to the grocery store and spent $400 or $500, and we got plenty of food at the house. Just one time. So I am asking my followers to join me because I'm going to donate again. I donate every time they do it. I'm going to donate again to the Donna Saunders Foundation. I'm going to lead the way, and I'm going to post on social media when it's done. So I'm going to do it as soon as I hang up from here because otherwise I might forget because I'm in menopause and I'm over here having a hot flash and my short-term memory sometimes don't work well. Um, I am going to lead the challenge. I'm going to put the challenge on social media, Nardis, so that hopefully people will follow my lead.
We appreciate that, Sherelle, and we appreciate all that you do to support us, particularly our pink tie guys. I know Kibi got a lot of folks on lockdown, and Wendell joined us one year. I haven't been able to get him back, so if you can help me, and that's another way that you can help too. That when August, September, we start recruiting for our pink tie guy participants, that you can help encourage folks to do it. I think people are afraid that they're going to fail, but if you raise a dollar, you didn't fail, because that dollar is going to help the other dollars get to somebody who needs it.
Absolutely. And I think that the work that you all are doing is just so awesome. Let's get the okay. Sharon said let's get the kids satisfied first. Okay. All right. I'm easy. $5,000 goal. I'm gonna
Thank you,
ask
twin. Thank you, twin.
I'm gonna ask people to help me raise $5,000 for these chemo kits. That's what I'm gonna do on social media.
All right, that's what I'm
Um,
talking about. That's
I'm
what I'm
gonna
talking
ask.
about. And I would love to go live and let folks know when that happens. So if you can, you know, the kits cost about $50 a piece. So if you can't raise it all, just just chuck out that $50, $50, $50. I know many of you spend that at Starbucks for a week. So save your body from that sugar and help somebody in need.
Okay, Sharon says she in, so we already got $150 going.
All
I'm,
right.
you know what? You just said something that made me. I didn't think of doing this because I'm usually when I go live it's for the party, but I'm gonna go live and ask people to help me raise $5,000 for these chemo kits. And let's see if we can make this happen for the foundation because I think the work that you're doing is okay. Nina says she in. Let's go. Here we go. We
It's
can
my
make this
BSU
happen.
family. That's what I'm talking about. Trojans always show up.
Sharon
They
said
always show up.
hold on. Sharon said $500. Let's
Woo,
go.
Sharon!
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
girl.
Okay.
Yes. That's what
We
I'm talking about.
Yes, we gonna make this happen because those chemo kits are very important to the people go on that journey, and we never know when we may be next or somebody we love is next, and they can then reach out to the foundation and see what type of resources and support they can get from the foundation. Oh, Kiki says she in. Come on, let's go.
All right, Kiki. Kiki, are you with me? That's what I'm talking about.
Kiki, do you love me? Okay, Jackie says she in. Let's
All right,
go.
Jackie. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you so
Jackie
much.
said,
My heart is fluttering right now.
Jackie said, I'm in. It's a great cause. Donna was my girl in a beautiful spirit. Whiten Hall. Yes.
We had a
Okay.
good time in Whiting Hall.
Keisha says she in. Come on,
All
Keisha.
right.
All
All
right.
right, Keisha.
We get ready to make this happen.
That's
And
what I'm
Sharon
talking
said, in
about.
memory of Diane. Yes. I'm
Yes.
going to reach out to my brother Hurley and see if he in. I'm sure he will be. So yeah, we gonna get this $5,000 right quick.
I appreciate that. I'm sure the
Yeah.
board is
So
screaming right now. Shout out to the Donna M. Saunders board. We're small, but we're mighty. We've been
yeah.
around since 2012, and a lot of foundations can't get off the ground and sustain themselves in the first 3 years. And we've been able to do that and help a lot of people in the DMV. So I want to shout out to the board. We are an atypical board that loves each other. We're like sisters, and we get the job done. So I'm so proud to be a part of this dynamic group of women that give back to the community every day.
Okay, and you said on the website, and somebody, let's see, who was it? I think two somebodies put the website breastcanceraid.org or breast cancer aid. Oh, that's the same thing. Okay,
Yes.
so we have Bronte. I hope I said that name right.
Yeah, that's our board member, Bronte. She's our treasurer. So she's
Okay,
probably,
and Darlene.
and Darlene's our board member as well.
Okay, so she
Yes.
they put the link
Links in.
to the foundation in the comment section. And if you go onto the website, you can do a one-time donation. You can choose your amount, and in the notes you can put, in the notes you can put for the chemo kit. And then also you can honor or remember someone with your gift. So make sure you do that. We're getting ready to make this happen. And let me see if I can raise $5,000 for the Donna Saunders Foundation.
All right, Sherelle. Thank you so much for sharing your platform with us. We truly, truly appreciate it. I love watching you and your guests. When you come on, it pops up on my Facebook page, and I love it. Keep doing what
Okay.
you're doing.
All right, thank you. So thank you so very much. Let's see, we are out of time, and it is time for me to do my what the hell segment. And
All
then
right.
once I complete my what the hell segment, I'm gonna go live on social media and get this $5,000 right quick.
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Sherelle.
If I could get $10,000 to 10,000 people to laugh at me because of football and a video I made going live, I should be able to raise $5,000.
Right.
And don't
Absolutely.
forget, everybody that's on this call, on this podcast right now, don't forget this is a tax write-off. And so you will receive a receipt to be able to write this off on your 2026 taxes. So that's also a bonus. All right. So thank you, Nardis. Hold on. Sit tight for me.
Okay.
All right. What the hell? I had no idea that I was going to end up saying that I was going to try to raise $5,000 for this organization. But God put it in my heart to do it. And I am committed and I am ready to get it done. No amount is too small. Don't ask yourself, what the hell am I doing with my money if I'm not going to help somebody else? Because remember, our blessings come from helping other people. So don't find yourself in a place where you're saying, what the hell am I thinking? Why am I not getting my blessings? Ask yourself, what the hell? I can help somebody else. It doesn't cost me a whole lot of money to help somebody else. You know, particularly most women, we have plenty of shoes, plenty of clothes, plenty of accessories. We have everything that we need. In fact, most of us, or I'm gonna speak for me, I have access, right? Excess of stuff. And so it is important to me in this moment to be obedient to God. So I'm not asking myself later, what the hell? Thank you all for joining me today. I look forward to you donating, and let's go ahead and raise this $5,000. Have a good night.